Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Global Education's Virtual Expo. My name is George. I work with Global, and we've got another webinar for you today. We've got a pretty interesting one for you. Some of you in Zimbabwe and South Africa will be familiar with Oxford Brookes University, but tonight we've actually got the regional manager who we work directly with. His name is Patrick Chikuma, and he works with us on a day-to-day basis. He's very knowledgeable. He knows the industry. He's been doing it for a long time. So if you have any questions about Oxford Brookes University or just studying in the UK in general, please put them in the chat box or in the Q&A section, and we'll get to it at the end of this presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Patrick. Patrick, good luck, and I'll see you at the end.
That's fine. Thanks, Judge. Hi, everyone. As Judge said, my name is Patrick, and I work at Oxford Brookes University. I'm just going to run through a very quick presentation. I'll try not to bore you all. I'll try to make it as quick as possible. These just roughly 20 slides, but half of it is my face where I'm smiling. Just get used to my face on screen already. But I would like to share good reasons with you all why I want to study at Oxford Brookes. I'm an alumnus of Oxford Brookes myself. I studied there for the public health course sometime in 2014. I enjoyed facilities behind me. That's the main campus, the Headington campus behind me. And we were the first set of students who used that in 2014, 2015, which was quite exciting. It's a smart building, responds to your body, kind of makes you feel good to be a student. And I had a really fantastic time in Oxford. And I'll really do my best to make sure you all have a good time if you find yourselves in Oxford. So without further ado, I'll share my screen quickly and run through a quick presentation with you all. Right. So, as I mentioned earlier, my name is Patrick, and I work at Oxford Brookes. I'm the Global Recruitment Officer for Africa at Oxford Brookes. That's my email address on screen. So if you ever need me for anything, feel free to reach out via email, or best bet, reach out to George and team at Global Education, and they'll be more than happy to support. We work very closely together, just as George mentioned earlier. So feel free to reach out to them. They're very knowledgeable. They know about the industry more than I do. And they're really, really hands-on and willing to help with all your needs when it comes to studying in the UK and indeed Oxford Brookes University. So please feel free to reach out to them. And if there's need for that, for extra support, you can always reach out to me via email. So we'll cover a few things regarding Oxford Brookes University. We're going to look at about Oxford Brookes, the facilities and services we have on campus, our accommodation services, our sports and societies. I focus on teaching, faculties and departments, work placements, entry requirements, and our scholarships. A brief overview, one of the top modern universities in the UK, and I think from the screen, from my screen, the screen behind me, you'll see how modern the institution is. We have a very modern campus. We've spent a lot of money in the last couple of years, even with COVID, to upgrade and update our facilities. We've spent over £150 million updating facilities on campus. We're a career-focused university, and we have links to industries, we work placements and internships with industries in and around the London area, because Oxford is very close to London, and of course within the Oxford area itself. A brief history about the university. So we started as a School of Arts in 1865 and progressed all the way, became a polytechnic in 1970 and became a university in 1992. Just this tiny little building here is the global office, and this is the main campus of the university called the Headington campus. The global office is where myself and my colleagues work out from, but I'm based overseas, and so I look after Sub-Saharan Africa. So I'm based in Nigeria, but I have my colleagues who are based in the Oxford office, and they work out from this tiny little office. It's quite fun whenever we're back together, because all we do is banter and make noise. And because I'm familiar with the Oxford area, I get to decide we'll have lunch and dinner every other day. And I mentioned earlier our location close proximity to London. We're just 1 hour from London and Heathrow. For those who haven't been to the UK before, Heathrow Airport is the main airport in the UK. And we've got shuttle services every hour from Heathrow to the university. And one of the stops in Oxford is Oxford Brookes University, which is the Headington campus, the campus I showed just the screen before. We're two major universities in one city. It's Oxford University and ourselves, Oxford Brookes. We share a few facilities together. We share common hospitals. We share common library. Our library space, so if you look at the image behind me, has got 4 floors. That's 4 floors of library space outside the teaching area, and it's open 24 hours, or used to be open 24 hours before COVID. But now that normalcy is trying to resume, we hope that we have the facilities running 24 hours, because it's very useful to students, for those who have part-time jobs, who have got other engagements and they want to study late at night. You have got the facilities open to you, resources at your disposal, study area, just a lot of things to play with. And it's a really, really nice place to engage as a student. 1 in 4 adults in Oxford are students. As I said, it's 2 massive universities in the same city. Oxford University with 52 colleges in the city, and we have 4 or 5 campuses within the same city as well. So it's a very big student population. So it's really nice. There's a lot of resources, both human and academic resources scattered all around the city, which is really, really helpful. I benefited from it as well. I can say that for certain. As an Oxford Brookes University student, you've got access to the Bodleian Library, which is the Oxford University Library. So for resources you can get at Oxford Brookes University, you can get access to them at the Oxford University Library. I used to study in the Bodleian Library myself as a student, and I can tell you, the amount of resources I came across in my entire world. I've probably not thought of coming across stuff like that. But it was quite helpful and quite reasonable to have 2 good universities sharing resources and collaborating on different fronts to make things happen. So it's quite nice and quite engaging for students as well, having access to such amount and level of resources at your disposal. So quite encouraging for students. Once you find yourself on campus, please feel free to get access to the Bodleian Library, because it's really helpful to give you a lot of resources to play with and to study with. A few key facts we have. 16 to 17% of our students are international students from more than 140 countries. So from Sub-Saharan Africa, we have students from all over the continent, from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, just to name a host of countries. We have got students from practically almost every country in the continent, which is really, really nice. We're one of the top 50 UK institutions, and we're amongst the world's top universities in 12 individual subject areas. And I'm happy to mention some of those subjects to you. So we have accounting and finance, we have architecture and built environment, we have biological sciences, we have business and management studies, we have computer science and information systems, we have economics and econometrics, we have education, and we have mechanical engineering, English and literature, hospitality and leisure management, law, modern languages, politics, and international studies, just to mention but a few. Every subject we teach at Oxford Brookes University is really, really hands-on and engaging. So if you find yourself in any of our subjects, please, please, please do your best to engage as much as you can, because it's really, really hands-on. A few of the facilities we have on campus, I think the key one I'd always encourage prospective students to take very good advantage of is the career services. There's a career center right there at the Headington campus, which is the main campus, and they're there to help with part-time job applications, full-time job applications, adjust your resumes, personal statements, and just to mention but a few. It's a service I encourage students to take very good advantage of once they find themselves on campus, especially if you're a student who wants to both work and learn. They stop. So feel free to reach out to them. And this is the service that is available to students even after they have graduated for 3 years. So for 3 years after you're done with studies, you can always make use of the career service, and they'll provide all the service you need as a Brookes alumni. We've got the medical center right on campus as well. So if you look at the image behind me, the building to the left has got the medical center right on top of it. We've got a sports center because we're very keen on sports at Oxford Brookes. I used to play football as a student, and a host of other sport activities we do engage in at Oxford Brookes. One thing I think I find really fancy about Oxford and indeed University Oxford Brookes is the Brookes bus service. It's a bus shuttle that links all our campuses together. So whichever campus you find yourself, whichever accommodation you find yourself, the Brookes bus service is going to link you all together, and you don't feel like, oh, I live 30 minutes away from campus or I live 30 minutes away from class. The shuttle runs every 15 to 20 minutes. Every 10 to 20 minutes, you have a bus coming on campus to pick you up, or from your accommodation to pick you up to take you to the next stop. All the 5 campuses on campus are linked, and in Oxford are linked together by the Brookes bus service, which is really, really nice. If you stay on student accommodation, you get a free bus pass that guarantees you travel across Oxford on the Brookes bus service for free. We've got a bookshop, bank, cafe, restaurant, grocery store, weekly market right on campus. There's a colonnade on campus as well. And once you need quick snack, quick food, you want to go make something quick while you're studying, the colonnade is just downstairs right at the Headington campus for you to get all you need. And then also, last but not the least, is the student union. Now that's the one stop for every student who wants to engage with other students that are not necessarily your peers on your class. That's one place I would always advise new, old, prospective students get engaged with the student union, because there's so many societies registered under the student union. As a student, as I'm privileged to say, myself and a few friends of mine, classmates at the time, we set up the Public Health Society on campus with the student union, and the society has been there for a really long time. It's what, 5 years afterwards, 6 years, and society is still there, waxing really strong. But that's just to mention one. There's a host of societies. There's a motorsport society, there's a law society, there's the African Caribbean Society, where you meet students from other African countries and indeed the Caribbean. You get to buddy up and make friends that last like a lifetime. We've got ISAT, which is the International Student Advice Team. They're very useful. So for prospective students, when it comes to the time to get the CAS to make a visa application, this is the team who will be looking at your bank statements and assessing that aspect of the application before they proceed, before they forward them to the compliance team who issues you a visa, who issues you a CAS to make a visa application. So they're really, really good, really helpful. So they help with so many things, from visas and immigration to meet and greet service, to the global body scheme, the One World Week, and they also help to international students to adapt, to culture shock. You find yourself, for those who haven't left your home countries before, you find yourself in a new country. There's always that struggle. I struggled myself. I needed support. I had support, and this is what ISAT is there to do. They're on campus. You can reach out to them at any time, working hours, Mondays to Fridays, and they're more than happy to help. We've got a range of accommodation options for prospective students to be well aware of. We've got 10 halls of residence, including a dedicated postgrad hall. The postgrad hall is called the Clive Boots Student Village, strictly dedicated to postgrad students. I'll have a host of undergrad accommodation options as well. Most of the rooms are en suite, and they include utilities, including internet and a discounted bus pass. Just as I mentioned earlier, when you stay on student accommodation, you travel on the Brookes bus for free, and the city buses, you travel at a discounted rate just by having the Brookes bus pass. I mentioned something about the Brookes Union earlier, the student union. They help with organizing the Freshers' Fair. There's over 100 societies. I mentioned a few earlier. They help with independent advice service, and also help to organize the One World Week, where students from all walks of life come together and have a really great time. We're keen on sports, just as I mentioned with the sports center. We're very keen on sports. We've participated in so many sporting events, and we'll have a few medals to our name. I won't go so much detail into this for now. We've been really champions for a really long time. We've won 13 medals since the year 2000, and you can see competitors we've had since 1993. I'll focus on teaching. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to teach in different aspects. You have a dedicated academic advisor as a student at Oxford Brookes, and your academic advisor is your first point of call if you're having any challenge, academic-wise, culture-wise, language-wise. It's always best to first get in touch with your academic advisors. They help you so much. They help you more than you would ever imagine. Don't ever be shy. Don't ever be scared. Just feel so free to reach out to them, and they're going to give you all the support you need. We also have student support coordinators on campus. We also have the careers teams that help with work placement and work-based projects, and also help with organizing mentors who come to mentor students on campus as well, which is really, really good. We also have the free in-sessional study skills support via Upgrade Service. Upgrade Service is a service you have on campus. They help with, say you're making your essay writings and you're not sure of your tenses, you're not sure of your command in English. The Upgrade Service is there to help with support for things like this. Then the interesting part is we have a free language model for international students. I took French, so bonsoir, mon amis. That's as much French as I know for now because I've not practiced so much. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got the 24 hours library service on campus, which is really good. Faculties and departments we have at Oxford Brookes. We have the Oxford Brookes Business School that houses the Business School and the School of Hospitality and Management. We've got the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences that houses the Department of Biological and Medical Sciences, Department of Psychology, Health and Professional Development, Department of Sport, Health Sciences and Social Work, and then the Oxford School of Nursing and Midwifery. Our Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences houses the School of Education, the Department of English and Modern Languages, School of History, Philosophy and Culture, School of Law, Institute of Public Health, and the Department of Social Sciences. And last but not least, Faculty of Technology, Design and Environment. It houses the School of Architecture, School of Arts, School of Built Environment, School of Engineering, Computing and Mathematics. So these are the 4 faculties we have on campus, but loads and loads of courses we offer at Oxford Brookes University. As I mentioned earlier, the career services help with a few things ranging from work placement to work projects. And a few places where our students have had work placements in recent years include Apple, BMW Mini, F1 Ferrari. I'm a big Formula One fan, so F1 Ferrari seems really exciting to me. Ernst & Young, Four Seasons, Grant Thornton, Mars, Microsoft, PepsiCo, and Warner Bros., just to mention but a few. So for students who choose the work placement option, the visas cover the duration of the work placement, and we've tried to organize exclusive placement for Oxford Brookes students. We get mentors and industry experts to come mentor our students, and you can also always go through, like I said, our career services to get some of these services provided to you. So how to get into our programs? We have the foundation pathways, we have the integrated foundation program, we have the 1-year independent foundation programs. The 4-year program is 1 application and 1 visa for the duration of the program. You choose a foundation specific to your course because we've got course-specific foundation, and they have different start dates, so September to May or January to August. And the entry requirements is English or the standard IB, and you've got it in. So when it comes to a specific entry requirements and how to go about your application, please get in touch with Global Education. They'll be the ones to help with your application process. They'll be the ones to guide you. I'm there to support. We work closely together So please feel free to reach out to Global Education when it comes to making these applications. I'll be more than happy to give you all the support that you need. So these are the requirements for the undergraduate course. So normally it's the standard IBs or A levels for students who do the A levels. And yeah, for students from South Africa, Zimbabwe, the NTS, if I stand corrected, I think it's NTS. Those are accepted as well. I think the equivalent to the A levels of foundation, once you do the higher diploma aspect of it. So you should be absolutely fine to get into our programs. And postgrad students, for those who do not meet our requirements, they go through the PreMasters route. And for those who meet the requirements, go straight onto the postgrad programs, which is quite helpful. But like I said, for anything related to the application, get in touch with Global Education and they'll be more than happy to help. If useful information you need to know, we've got scholarships available on campus. So we've got 2 intakes at Oxford Brookes. We've got the January intake and we've got the September intake. Right now, we're working with Global Education towards January intake, and the applications are open for students who want to start in January. If you missed out on September, now is the time to get those applications in so they can get your offer in on time. Our scholarship deadline for January, I stand corrected, but it's the first week in November. So I would always advise, get your application in early, because once getting those applications, you meet your offers before that first week in November deadline, you get an automatic £2,000 deducted on your tuition, which is quite helpful, especially in the times like we have now. So I'm coming to the end of my presentation. So a few reasons why you want to study at Oxford Brookes. Oxford Brookes is one of the leading modern UK universities and attracts nearly 3,000 international students from 140 countries, as I mentioned earlier. Oxford is world famous for its rich history in education and groundbreaking research. It's also only an hour, from London. So if you've got family in London, you need to visit. If you've got to land in Heathrow Airport and you come on campus, it's just direct shuttle service, direct train service to Oxford, which is quite helpful to students, especially if you're a first-time person visiting the UK. Oxford Brookes courses give you the fundamental skills and experience you need to succeed in your chosen career and become internationally employable. Our international studies advice team can help with everything from visas to work options. They also help on trips around the UK so you can see more of the country. Oxford Brookes University has climbed 8 places in the 2020 Guardian University to be ranked 33rd out of 121 UK universities. So we're right in the top 50 universities in the UK, which is a really strong place to be. And so I encourage every one of you, make those applications now, get in touch with Global Education. If you've got any problems, if you've got any challenges, reach out to them. They'll be more than happy to help. I'm here, as I said, to support. You can reach out to me directly as well. I've got my WhatsApp number on the screen, and I'll always have a cheerful smile on my face because that's all we can get going in a time as we have now. But yeah, that brings me to the end of the presentation. So George, you're welcome back on screen. And yeah, let's.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
I can stop sharing my screen now, and we can go back to So
yeah, all good.
Yeah, perfect.
Patrick, thanks for the presentation. I've been brought up within this industry, and know with Nico, who's managing director of the business. And Oxford Brookes University is a university that is really, really well regarded, and a lot of people know of them. Yourself being an alumni student, the support that you mentioned, like, how important is it for students to take advantage of it? Did you find them of real value? It's something I wanted to students in this webinar to be aware of, that they should really take advantage of it. And from your perspective, why?
So for every single thing I mentioned, I benefited from each and every one of them. So from having part-time jobs in Oxford while I was a student, the career services were there to help. They tailored my CV to the job I wanted. I got the job. I worked on it till I finished studying. The free language module, I took advantage of it as well, because like I said, I took French for a full semester and it was for free. Yeah, just the ISAT team, like I said, they're more than happy to support when it comes to meet and greet service, visa and immigration services. If you've got any challenges on campus when you're checking in for your visas, they're more than happy to give you all the support, and they're right there on campus. So yeah, these are services I did benefit from as a student, and these are services as I said, firstly, the career service, make them your best friends. Because if you don't want to get those jobs, post-study work kicking in, you want to get those jobs right after studying, make the career service team your best friends, because they'll be the ones to help you tailor your CV, help you get those job searches peculiar to the jobs you're seeking, and they'll be more than happy to help. ISAT team is there as well to support when it comes to visa as well. So a really, really handsome team.
Yeah. In terms of like the application process, when do you advise students to start applying for them? And are there some cutoff dates that Oxford Brookes have? And when would the next start date be for people that are interested in applying?
So the next start date we just rounding up September intake. And so we're trying to shift all our focus. As I mentioned to you earlier on the call, this is my first event geared towards January 2022. And so we're right now taking applications for January, and we have a few courses that will publish on the website. I'll share that with you, George, after this call. And so you have a list so that when the prospective student comes, you know the courses we have available for January. We don't have all the courses for January as we have in September. For September, we'll have all the full, complements of courses at the university. But for January, we have a few courses, mostly those from business school. And I'll share that with you right after this call, George. But then we have a few courses available for January. Applications can start to go in as quickly as now. So they can get in touch with you right now, just that you're not going to have any sleep tonight.
Yeah, and definitely worth applying as soon as you're feasibly able to. Just for students listening in as well, if you're applying before your final results are coming out, you would get a conditional offer based on you meeting that criteria. So always keep that in mind, that you'll then have to supply your final results to then get your final letter of offer. And that's where we come in, where we speak and work directly with Patrick and the admissions teams. If you're studying into the UK, where Oxford Brookes University is, you would apply through the UCAS system as well. And that's something that we help as we're a registered UCAS center. So just keep that in mind when you're looking to apply and research. It's not just the application, the time frame is really important, like Patrick said, and Patrick, in terms of competitive entries with Oxford Brookes, is it quite difficult to get into Oxford Brookes, or is there the pathway that they want to accept as many students as possible, but you're going to have a higher fail rate? They're really going to make you work harder for that degree. Is that kind of the feel at Oxford Brookes?
I think that's a very good question, George. So for Oxford Brookes, we've got specific entry requirements for all courses. So for undergraduate courses, depending on the course, you have specific grades for A levels, for IBs, and then, so most times, because South Africa is the NTS system, we have to convert that to the IB A level equivalent. So the grades have to match up to what we would expect. So normally it would be, I think it's 7777 or 6666. So every course has got a specific requirement. And then if an applicant doesn't meet the specific requirement for those courses, then you're directed to do a foundation course. And then once you successfully pass a foundation course, then you get on the course. And as I mentioned earlier during the presentation, we've got course-specific foundation programs. Say, for instance, you want to study computer engineering, we've got computing foundation. That helps to build a very core knowledge about the computing field, and kind of helps to grow your mind. So by the time you're starting your undergraduate program, you already have very modern, like more or less basic knowledge and an extra just before you get on the course, which is quite helpful.
And Patrick, in terms of like studying two majors, there's a question here from an anonymous attendee who I've had a bit of a chat on the Q&A section with. How does that work at Oxford Brookes and just in general studying in the UK? You know, where I'm based in Australia, I was able to do two majors while I did a BCom, business degree, for example. How does it work in the UK?
So the UK is totally different from Australia and the US, where you can have a major and a minor. However, we have a few courses who have got, other degrees attached to them. I give an example here. So a student who wants to study business management, for instance, you can have a business management, finance, and economics program. You can have business management, politics, international relations. They can all come together. So it's going to be one certificate, but then you're going to at least have core knowledge of different aspects of different courses that could stand alone, but now they've been put together. So you not necessarily the US system or the Australian system where you have a major and a minor. However, you can have courses that have got 2 degrees in one.
Yeah, I think it's a really valuable information there as well. Take the time to find out what you want to study and the passion that you want to put behind it, rather than trying to find the location first, then the course, then you want to do a major. I'm sure me and you can both appreciate the time frame to apply for courses, in your second semester, third semester, when classes fill up. I always think of that.
Yeah. Are there other questions for me to go to?
Yes. We've got one more question here from Kathy, who's asking about scholarships for master's programs. I'm not sure if you mentioned anything on masters, but are there any at Oxford Brookes?
Yeah, I did mention. So we have an early bird scholarship, which is £2,000. Say, for instance, a student who wants to start with us in January. Once the application goes in, there's a deadline for that. Right, the deadline for that is normally the first weeks in November, which we haven't set just yet, but we have a deadline. So we always encourage students. I personally encourage students or prospective students, make those early applications, meet the conditions on your offer so that you get the automatic £2,000 deducted on your tuition fees, because that comes in really handy, especially now, with the whole scarcity of funds and struggles financially due to COVID. £2,000 is a lot of money to support education. So send your applications in early and you get an automatic £2,000. It applies to both undergraduates and postgraduates.
That's fantastic. And it's great to hear that from Oxford Brookes, Patrick. Really appreciate it. If anybody has any more questions for Patrick, he is a busy man. We're very grateful for having him on this webinar with us. So please put them.
You're using my evening, George. You owe me for this.
Yeah, Patrick, I always enjoy these conversations because, you always learn a little bit more about the university than what you would read on the internet or, researching on Google, where, you can find 1,000 different conversations going on different threads and different courses. What's one area of Oxford Brookes that really stood out for you that you would tell a student to make sure they go and visit once they arrive?
I think that's a really good question. I know the answer to that everywhere in Oxford because personally, I have not even explored Oxford to my full potential. And you can imagine where in the office they see me as the one who is the more outgoing person, and I haven't explored, as much as I would want to. There's so many places to visit. There's so many parks to relax, chill. There's so many beautiful places in Oxford, I tell you for certain. And for postgrad students, even undergrad students, there's so many lovely pubs hidden in different corners of the city where you just have to sneak in. And I think the most famous one of them is the Turf Tavern. That's one pub. You get to Oxford, you at the core Oxford born and bred, citizen will tell you, make sure you go to the Turf Tavern. It feels like you're a dwarf, it's important is to add maybe the 7 dwarfs for example, but it's a really nice place, just so many beautiful places to visit in Oxford. I haven't visited enough. And every year I'm in Oxford, I try to go somewhere new. So just so many places. Google is your best friend. Just it's a list, a whole long list. Play on Google. I do the same. New places in Oxford. I love to eat. So the first thing I look out for is restaurants, the new restaurants. If I've been here to this year, next year I want to go somewhere new. I want to explore new food, new cuisine, try my taste buds or something else. Just try out the restaurants in Oxford. Food is really good. There's one I'd mention that's really, really nice. Crap, the name just flew out of my head. I'm going to text it to you, George. You have to.
Please do, and I'll add it to the newsletter for everybody as well.
Please, you should. It just skipped. This Thai restaurant. Oh my God, the food is. Let's continue, George. I'm just going to throw away for thinking of food.
I know we have to get back to some travel.
Yeah, we should. But it's really nice. It's really nice place to eat. Nice place. Like it feels old school, but it's modern old school. Like it's such a nice place. Such a really nice.
It's actually
place.
really good to know that it's got that old school modern feel to it. A lot of students are very thoughtful about the future of where careers are going, what to study based on the future, what's happening. In regards to the current climate that we all live in, what's happening with the current September intake with COVID? If you could just go a little bit into that. I know students are very aware of that situation.
Yeah, so with COVID came at a very unprecedented time. We all had to adjust to life. To study, students had to study online, which wasn't fun. But I think the one thing that I'm most excited about is the return to campus for September. Students are welcome back on campus from September. The vaccines are rolling out in the UK and other parts of the world, which is quite encouraging. We're still learning about COVID, and the scientists are still working really hard to find solutions to them. But we've put measures in place on campus. We've got a vaccine center on campus, a test center on campus. So students and staff are encouraged to always get the testings done right on campus, or for those who haven't got the vaccine shots, they get them on campus as well. So for students also for this September, who are coming in from red listed countries or amber countries or green countries, the green countries come in, you don't have to isolate. The red countries, you have to isolate for 10 days and you take a test of day 2 and day 8. I think it's similar to the amber countries as well. But once you're done with your isolation, you can get back to life as normal, get to class with your classmates. It's really nice. It's really nice. But as I mentioned earlier on the call, my friends, my buddies at Global Education have got all the answers to this as well. So feel free, the details on screen, reach out to them. Any challenges you have, application-wise, if you need further support, if you need further inquiries, please reach out to George and his team. And if there's anything George needs as support, he's one dial away from myself, and I'm more than happy to provide the support from my end as well. So please reach out to George and the Global Education team. They're really knowledgeable. I can tell you for certain they're more knowledgeable than myself. I'm not ashamed to say that. They know these jobs more than I do. But then we'll work closely together, and we make sure your life on campus or your journey from application to where you get on campus is a very seamless one. Provide all the support you need until you find yourselves in the classroom under the care of your academic advisors. So please feel free to reach out to them as soon as you can. For those who want to start in January, now is the time. Send in those applications. Let's get those offers. Let's meet those conditions. Let's get that scholarship sorted, and let's get yourselves on campus in January, come 2022.
And Patrick, I think that's a beautiful place to end this webinar and presentation. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And to everybody at Global Education, we look forward to working with you and helping students embark on that journey to Oxford Brookes and to do your journey as well. We live in each other's footsteps as well. So Patrick, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, George, for having me. And I look forward to doing more of this. And like I said, all goes well by the grace of the Almighty. I hope to be in South Africa in early next year, get to spend some time. I want to try out food. So I hope you'll be around at the time so they can take me to the restaurant, because that's what I live for, man. I live for eating and I live for exploring stuff. So I look forward to visiting and seeing everyone in the office soon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Patrick. And to
Thank you so
everybody,
much.
please note we'll send the recording out. Patrick will provide me some information. I'll then get it out to all of you in the newsletter with this recording, so you can then share it with your family and friends. You're welcome to share it with your schools. We are sharing it with a lot of school counselors as well throughout Zimbabwe and South Africa. But if you would like to share it with your school, please do let us know, and we'll gladly share the links as well. They're all free on YouTube as well. So more than happy as well on that front. So not that, have a good night and keep safe, everybody.
Bye, everyone.